All right. Let's do a little check. All right. How you guys doing? Everything sound okay? Hopefully you can hear. Guitar check and yapping check. Hello. All right. See if anyone's here. How you guys doing? I'm Ken Rose. This is Orange Hangs, and I play guitar with Hero Jr. For those of you guys that don't know us, we've been together. Well, I've been in the band for almost 9 years now. We've done more than 850 shows, and we're a working rock band playing original music. So you can check us out on www.herojuniormusic.com. See if you guys are coming in. You can hear. All right, man. Hey, Andy. How you doing? Um, yeah, today it was lazy. I've been mixing the new Hero Junior record, which is actually finished. So we're really excited to get that out pretty soon. Stay tuned. And that was done with all orange amps, of course, on my side. And Evan uses PV amps. We got a great 1-2 guitar punch, I think, with that sound. Today, I'm doing the Crush Mini with the speaker output through the PPC 112. I did this last week, but I love this sound and I never get to play it, so it's fun. Um, and I'm going direct, no effects today. I'm using my 1972 Les Paul Standard with original T-top pickups in it. This is my main stage guitar, and my main stage amp rig is an OR50 through a PPC 212 and a few choice vintage effects. So, yeah, that's a little bit about me. I'll play a little bit, see how the rig sounds today. Not bad for something the size of my palm, huh? I love this little amp. It's cool. And it's great for other stuff too. If I'm producing other people, there's a lot of times I run drum loops through there. I run vocals through there sometimes. And yeah. Hey man, how you guys doing? For those of you guys just tuning in, I'm Ken Rose. I play guitar with Hero Jr. We are an original touring rock band. And yeah, I got some questions from you guys coming up. Optic, I guess so. Hey, also, kind of crap news. We are not going to be doing the Orange Hangs anymore. I think Orange is changing their whole artist relations program. Unfortunately, Alex, my good friend who I've been working with, man, for almost 9 years, is going on to greener pastures, doing a bunch of new cool stuff. So yeah, this will be the last one. But for you guys that tune in regularly, I'm definitely going to do something else. I've been approached by a few other people to do some things maybe something with recording master classes or some more guitar things, live performance master classes in a podcast or live stream format. So hit me up on my private Instagram at mywarpedhalo, MYWARPEDHALO, and give me your email address. And I'm doing a really sweet and simple, non-invasive email to keep people posted what I'm doing. And I will only send out something if anything's going on. I hate getting them, so I'm not going to give them like that either. So yeah, it's been really cool doing this. And at the end of the hour today, that's it, doing this. But I'll still be working with Orange. I'm always touring with Orange amps, and I'm sure we're going to find something cool to do. So we'll figure it out. Just send me a private message on Instagram and we'll figure it out. So yeah, anyway, like I said, I'm using the Crush Mini. Not bad for a pocket amp, huh? Let's go to some questions. This is the part where I need my glasses to read the questions that I got. All right. Favorite delay from Steve. He asked me that question on Facebook a couple days ago. Well, I think my favorite all-time delay is a real tape Echoplex. I've got a couple of those and nothing beats it, but they definitely don't tour well. And they're really, yeah, they go broken pretty quickly, especially on the road. So my main Echo on tour is, and I don't use a whole lot of effects, but when I do, I'm using Jim Dunlop. It's an Echoplex clone. It's really, really good. It's got a tap tempo. It's a one, it's a small size pedal. It's awesome. And when you're playing live, you really can't tell the difference. I mean, okay, if you're really going to get picky, using the delay time on an Echoplex, there's nothing like that because you can slide it and it feels really good. But I'm super, super happy with, yeah, Boonar. Boonar needs to send us one. I really want to try that. That is my delay that I've been looking at for a while, but I haven't got one yet. But I definitely want to check that out. But I still really do, for the kind of stuff that I do, I swear by my Echoplex by Jim Dunlop. And I've got a vintage Memory Man, and I like that because it's really got a cool warble. When I put the chorus after the delay, it really sounds cool. So those are my two touring delays. So thanks for that question, Steve. What other questions do I have here? So Sarah G on Facebook, she asked can you give me guitar lessons? I mean, I can give anybody guitar lessons. I actually do give guitar lessons. I do it by audition, not because I'm a snob, but I'm really doing intense, less theoretical and more, how can I take what you're doing and get you playing as good as you can, as fast as you can. So it's a little bit unconventional, and it works for some people and it doesn't work for others. But I'm always, especially because of COVID, giving about, I don't know, anywhere between 5 to 10 lessons on Zoom every week. It works really good. The sound is good. So yeah, I mean, hit me up if you want. All my information's there. Thanks for that question, Sarah. And if you want to check it out, get a hold of me. Oh, I got another question. Do you teach? Yeah, I teach everything, and we'll figure that out with whatever I'm doing next. I really want to be doing something where I can give practical information about recording, producing, writing, playing live, all kinds of different things. So I could pass on some of the cool stuff that's been passed on to me. So, yeah, that will happen. You can hit all my information's there. So if you're interested in anything, just hit me up. And I took my glasses off, so I have no idea what's going on here. Can you give me any home recording advice for a band? Yeah, let's get to that one a little bit later today, because our special guest, who's been a regular since we started this, Blake from the Tone Mob podcast, is waiting here. So let's welcome Blake, see what he's got going on today. Hey,
Yo.
dude. How are you? Good.
I am here. I'm scrambling today, so I'm here.
My favorite one is the one where you call me from your car. That was the best.
Yeah, I was at the coast and I had to drive around and try to find reception. Right?
That's awesome. Hey, so did you hear Orange is changing everything, so this is the last one today.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they Alex, who's the A&R manager, he is headed to somewhere else, and they're just they're making some changes. I'm sure there's something's going to come up, and if I'm doing it, you'll be a part of it. So
all right, he's working for a different company now.
He's gonna be, yeah.
Oh, let me get this on Do Not Disturb so nobody calls me. I always forget to do that. 1 second.
Oh yeah, that's cool. So anyway, it's been awesome, man. We met by accident. I'm sure we'll be in touch, but it's been really. We've done this almost a year. Could you believe that?
Dude, that's crazy.
And I still don't know what I'm doing, but it's fun.
Yeah, you're preaching to the choir. I just keep doing whatever it is that I'm doing, and as long as people seem to like it, then I guess I'll just keep doing it. But
yeah,
I guess that this is kind of fitting that this is the last one potentially, because I finished the last song for my EP last night.
Cool.
And I wanted to bring, not weird enough, this will be a weird episode to end on, because the thing I'm bringing is not a guitar. It's not a pedal. It doesn't actually have anything to do with guitar, except that I ran it through guitar amplifiers. So
yeah,
you might be able to guess if you saw my Instagram, but I forget at times how much I love this little device right here.
Oh yeah, I did see that.
The Yamaha Reface CP.
Oh yeah.
It is awesome. I think they retail for around $400. And I think I got this one used for $250 or so, and it's worth every penny. So let's take a look here at the most important part. So what this is it's an emulator of a bunch of classic pianos. So we've got 2 different Rhodes modes there, a Wurlitzer, a what's the other one? I forget. A clavinet, and then a toy piano. It's kind of hard to see. It's kind of glaring. And then a Yamaha CP as well. And the Rhodes modes in particular on this are my favorite. The Rhodes modes sound really good, and it's really cool. You can run it right out and into a variety of things. You can use it as a MIDI controller, whatever. But like what I like to do is I like to run it into 2 different guitar amps. And it sounds really, really nice running through some good tunes.
I mean, that's a really cool thing, and I think unless you're trying to play live, I mean, my favorite shit going through an amp is older stuff or cheaper keyboards. Especially, I used to have an old DX7 in my studio in London, and that was just amazing because it had this weird digital noise when you hit the keys.
Yeah.
And once you put distortion on any of that shit, it does weird stuff.
Yeah, man.
And it's like, yeah, that's really cool. I can't wait to hear that record.
Well, what's really strange about like going back and listening to the piano parts I recorded is like, because I was getting it to, so the volume control on it is pretty powerful. Then I was playing with it up and down as if I were playing with my volume knob on a guitar, and so there's parts on it that the amp starts breaking up. So it sounds like a guitar at times.
Oh yeah, I mean that stuff is because it's got, you know, straight when you go line out, it's a pretty hot source because it's digital. It's digital, right?
It is, yeah.
Yeah, so I used to play in a band with Andre Lewis. He was like a kind of funk legend back in the day, and he played standing up through one of those Roland stand-up keyboards, and he played it through a JC 120, and it was so fucking loud. It was like it was hurting because it was just such clean digital power through a guitar amp.
Right.
Man, it was like, and he was half deaf to begin with by that time. So it was like, and he's amazing. He's played with a lot of people, Zappa, tons of people. He's Johnny Guitar Watson, really great keyboard player. He plays like a guitar with the bend and the vibrato and stuff.
Cool.
But man, it was so loud. And if I was standing in front of his amp, my ears like literally felt like they were just breaking apart.
That's gnarly, man.
Yeah. So you can do, it's so cool. And what's great is, you know, with keyboards through guitar effects, I mean, the modulation and the bend wheel controls, you can do some cool shit, even in the, you know, for textures.
Yeah, well, I should talk about that too. I didn't even touch on that. So I of course did run it through a bunch of pedals because, you know, I'm me. But it also has built-in effects, and they're all really good. They're very simple. Just reverb, delay, and it's got a digital delay and an analog delay. It's not technically an analog delay. It's an analog delay module, you know, emulator, chorus and phaser, and tremolo. And they sound really good, and they're really easy to use, really basic. They're fantastic. So I used a little bit of tremolo, a little bit of the digital delay, and a little bit of the reverb. And of course, I ran it into a bunch of other delays and reverbs because I'm me. But
because you have a whole cabinet behind you that's just dying to be used.
That's right. You gotta use this stuff. That's what it's for.
Yeah.
I've actually got some hate in the past where people are like, "You got all this gear that you're not using." I'm like, I use it every day. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I think, and you know, with gear, it's like some stuff works for some things, and that's why we got gear cabinets. I mean,
that's right.
That's what it's there for.
It's perfectly healthy. It's fine.
Well, dude, I appreciate everything over the last year, and it's been really cool. And I mean, I'll be in touch. And hey, the Steve Rose podcast was great.
Oh man, that was a lot of fun. Thanks for hooking us up. That was great.
I really just liked all the different shit that you guys talked about. It was really cool from all different sides of being creative.
Yeah, I thought it was really applicable to really anybody trying to do anything in the creative fields, whether you're a graphic designer or a musician or a videographer or whatever you're trying to do. Painter, doesn't matter.
Totally. That was a good one. So you guys check out Blake. He's at the Tone Mob. He's got a great podcast. He's got a great YouTube channel. He's doing all kinds of different things, and he's been an awesome guest. And whatever I do next, he'll definitely be a part of it if he wants. So
all right. Well, I appreciate it, Ken. This has been great. Good to talk to everybody.
Dude. Have a good one. Stay
Bye-bye.
good. Bye. All right. For those of you guys just tuning in, I'm Ken Rose, play guitar with Hero Jr. For those of you guys that have been here regularly during COVID, this is going to be the last Orange Hangs with me for Orange. And I'm not leaving Orange, I don't think. And I don't think we're stopping for a bad reason. I just think they're making some changes. So stay tuned. Orange is always going to do cool stuff. So I'm sure we're going to do something else coming up. And I will definitely, because of this experience, be doing some kind of a podcast, some kind of a music thing about creativity. Not sure what it's going to be or who it's going to be with yet, but I've gotten quite a few requests to do something together. So we'll put something together. So make sure that you follow me on Instagram, and I'll keep you posted. I am going to do a mailing list, and all my information's down here on the YouTube and Facebook feed. So just letting you know that this Orange Hangs with me. It's going to be the last one today. So it's been awesome, and you guys are always awesome. So let's see what happens next. Today I'm playing through Crush Mini again. It's my fun toy still. Man, that is an awesome little amp. And I'm playing my 72 Les Paul Standard. This has been my baby for quite a long time. And yeah, see what kind of questions. I've never played heritage guitars ever. And yeah, I'm not even sure I know what they are. I've been playing Gibson guitars pretty much my whole life. My very first guitar when I started playing guitar was a really old SG that I got for super cheap in a secondhand store. And I've made some really weird impulse trades, especially when I was in high school. I was totally affected by just trying every guitar. So I've made some huge mistakes with guitars and trading and selling, but I guess everyone's kind of done that. But yeah, I've been playing Les Paul. Is just, yeah, it's besides the fact that Jimmy Page has pretty much been my hero since I started listening to music when I was really little kid. It just feels good, and a lot of the way that I do stuff is, yeah, most of it's feeling oriented, which, you know, besides just the way I play and the influences that I have, you know, I play really shitty on a guitar that doesn't feel good to me. There's some people that are just so amazing and they can pick up any guitar and shred on it. But if I don't have some kind of connection with the guitar, it's really weird. And it's like, yeah, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde with my guitar playing. It's really depending on my emotion. So Kalamazoo. Yeah, I'll check it out, Andy. I've never heard of that guitar company. Let's see, what else do we have in the question pool? Oh, this one was really good. This one's from Georgia on Instagram, and that's Georgia a person, not Georgia the place. Do you approach different styles of music differently when you're producing in the studio? That's a great question. I would like to think that my base when I'm working creatively it's usually the same. I mean, I grew up listening to rock music, music that was very feel oriented, and music where mistakes were made in the process of recording. Usually, mistakes, if you want to call them that, I don't call them. I call them happy accidents. Probably something Bob Ross would say. Um, I think that when you're playing live and you're in the moment, if you're really into it, there's just going to be these times where you go places because you're inspired to do it without thinking, and you barely make it. And sometimes you don't make it. And some of I mean, listen to the blues guys, the old school blues guys, Jimmy Page, Jimi Hendrix, Neil Young. It's like these are some of my favorite rock guitar players. And it's like if you really listen, they're just so good because they're really honest with their playing, and they just go for it. And sometimes when you go for it, you don't make it. And I think that's so awesome. For me, creativity is like that in general. That's just we all do it differently, but that type of creativity is what I'm really into. Just seeing what happens, and if you trust yourself, usually something good happens. And so I approach all music that way. I mean, I think, just really basically my history in the music business is I started out like most guitar players being in bands and, doing all that kind of stuff. And then a couple people at BMI inspired me to get into songwriting, and I got a publishing deal. I wrote songs and produced for a lot of other artists. And I really think that one of the reasons that people wanted me in the room writing with them is it was that attitude. It was a real band rock and roll attitude. I'm really of the opinion when you're being creative with other people in a room, especially in the writing phase, everyone has different input, but if that person wasn't there, the song wouldn't be there. So even down to splitting things equally, amongst writers. I mean, a lot of people are really greedy and they say, I did this, this is worth this percent. It's like, I just don't believe that. I think whoever's in the room, if you're, working with someone else, you would never come up with that song if you weren't with those people in the room. So if you don't split it as a writer, you're kind of a wanker. So that's my take on it. Everyone's got their own take. And like always, I'm here to just talk about my experience and what I've done. And yeah, so I approach every style of music when I'm starting out on the creative process, which is usually the writing part. It's trying to keep the idea as pure as when it comes to when it comes out, as far as just keeping the inspiration true to how it was when it first came through me, however that happens. And I really love doing that with, I did a lot of pop music. I did a lot of, more film and TV experimental kind of stuff. And I think it's all the same for me. Creativity, it doesn't matter. Now, there are some definite rules. If you're writing for the radio, you definitely need to have a chorus that comes within the first 45 seconds. That's a definite pop thing and definite radio thing. You definitely need your song under 3 minutes and 45 seconds because they clump a bunch of songs together based on where they can put the advertisements on normal radio. So that's a factor. Most people that listen to the radio do not have a long attention span. So you definitely have to have something happening throughout the song. These are all things that I don't pay any attention to with Hero Jr. I think the great thing about the experience that we have in this band is Evan and I have been writing songs together for, I think we've been writing songs together 3 years before I even joined the band. So we have a vibe together writing, and I mean, we could take any of those songs and turn them into 3 minute and 30-second pop songs because the writing's good. But we've got solos, we've got breakdowns. We really try to, come up with middle eights and breakdowns that really take you somewhere. And you just can't fit all that shit into a 3 minute and 45-second song, especially if you're in a rock band. You want to stretch out and see what's going on. So that's my favorite thing about being in Hero Jr. on the recording side, is that when Evan and I are writing, we are just writing to make ourselves happy. And there's definitely features in the songs that are structure that work, you know, when you listen to it, you can sing it afterwards. But we never think about that shit. We really sit down on the couch, couple acoustic guitars, write it, bring it to the band. But the energy and the enjoyment from being creative, it's exactly the same no matter what kind of music I'm making. And I find that it works in most situations. I've done tons of corporate work too, and I've got to tone it down sometimes when I do that. But the inspiration and the enjoyment of being creative, it's like, of course, rock music and guitar is my main love, and it always has been. But I'm really into just being creative, you know, whatever it is. Creativity is a really awesome thing. So that was a great question. And I do seminars with songwriting, production, and stuff too. So just stay in touch, and I'm really going to try and start a brand and do some interesting creative things for you guys online. So might be a few weeks before it starts happening, but definitely get in touch. All the details are there. For those of you guys just tuning in, I'm Ken Rose. This is Orange Hangs. We've been doing this every week since since March. It's almost a year. It's unbelievable, since the plague started. And today's our last Orange Hangs, and I'm sure we'll be doing some other stuff together, so stay tuned. Okay. Yes. It's those I'm not a rule person, like I always say. I mean, I hate rules, but I do love being creative. And even though, I mean, like I said, my main thing is rock. I mean, I've written a shitload of pop songs, and I gotta say that even, especially when I was living in London, I lived in London for 10 years, and I had a publishing deal all of that time. And, you know, making music is really fun, and I choose what I want to do. And sometimes it's good to, like, the rules that I learned, they actually, in a very non-related way, apply to all music. It's like, you need to have a good song, and a good song has nothing to do with how good the guitar playing is. A good song is really a melody and lyrics. That's the first thing. If you don't have that, it really doesn't matter. It's really rare that there's a song that can't be played in its most basic form. It's gonna work. You know, you can play Metallica songs on acoustic guitar, it works. So songwriting in any kind of for me, and this is just me personally, it's like songwriting is really important. How you do the song, that's production, and that's the next thing. And yes, I prefer live with the band all the time. That's my favorite thing. But I think that if Evan and I didn't write songs that were just good songs from the bassist, we wouldn't be able to do the next thing and get away with it a little bit. So, and that's the point, you know, melody, lyrics, how it's delivered. Those are the first three things in my book, what matters. Then, yeah, a great guitar player, it's going to make a great song even better, or a guitar player that plays for the song. I mean, that's another thing. And that's another question that I had last week that we talked about is playing for the song. It's like, I'm always, whatever I do, it's playing and servicing the song. It's always I always have a little joke. It's like the song kind of tells me what it needs, and it's always been that way when I've been producing, writing. I really know when to stop. The song knows when it's done, and servicing the song, if you can do that each step of the way without rules, but making sure that your song is intact, that's really, really important. So rule breaking, hey, that's the best thing of all. But you know, there's some pop songs that are really great, and they do fit that format. Yeah, I mean, the coolest thing, I'm talking to you, Jimmy. Thanks for the question in the comments. There's no right or wrong with art and with creativity. There really is no right or wrong. I think, and this is just my observation from being in the music business. I mean, I've been a writer, a producer, guitar in a band, doing sessions. It's like there are really similarities, and you can get a rock vibe in an a cappella vocal song. I mean, rock and roll doesn't mean guitars. It means that you've got attitude and you're being really true to yourself, and people can feel that when you're doing it. So I mean, there's been a long time where hip hop, especially in the old school hip hop, Beastie Boys, all the way up through Dre, where hip hop was way more rock and roll than any rock music that was coming out on the radio or even being released. I mean, hip hop had way more attitude than guitar music did, especially like in the middle to late 80s. So, and that's my opinion, but you listen to a Snoop Dogg record and there's not a lot of guitar in it, but the production is amazing. Beastie Boys, that's way more rock and roll for me than most rock bands that came out especially in the middle to late 80s, like the beginning of hip hop before it became really commercial. So but yeah, I mean, so you're saying, yeah, implying the melody in the lead, it's cool, especially, I mean, it works all the time, and again, there's no rules, but that's a real good key if you're doing pop music. As a studio guitar player, yes, putting melodies. But with Hero Jr., I play the solo. I play it different every time. I mean, I am really, really inspired by Led Zeppelin, Jimi Hendrix, Neil Young. Um, I just love the way I've seen so many concerts that they've done documented, and it's never the same way twice. And I think if you're in a rock band and you can do that, it's really cool because it means you've got a chemistry, and it means it's not that you're practicing arrangements and practicing notes. It's being together and bonding as a group of people. And for me, that's what's so great about being in this band, is that it's like autopilot. When we're on tour after a few shows, we've really got a chemistry where I'm not really listening to anything. It's just all happening. And I think for me at that point, that's when it's really magical. And I'm so thankful, to have been in this band for the last almost 9 years, and we've toured, we've done so many shows. And so that's a whole other aspect. I mean, the songs were there at the beginning, but it's really who we are as people. And that has a lot, that's pretty important. But anyway, I was going off topic there. Yes, having a melody in your guitar solo is always cool. The 80s were not as great as some seem to think. I mean, yeah, I mean, I could go into this for a long time. I think the advent of the CD had its pluses and its minuses, and it really did change the way people made and sold music. Music business has always been a business, but I think that a lot of record executives in the 50s, 60s, and like up through the 70s, they were also really involved with creativity. And, not all of them were musicians, but they were really music lovers. And I think when the advent of the CD and digital came out, it turned a lot of that group of people that were involved in the business, that were actually music people that love to go in the studio and hear new songs. This is going on. Wow, that's a great guitar part. Like, people really did care about the making of music. And not to say that people don't care now, but I think when the 80s came along, marketing and salesmanship and making money, it just took a different turn. And I think nothing's quote bad, because shit just happened. So with the advent of technology like digital, of course you're going to get all kinds of other things that aren't based with making music in the moment in a room. But I think there's ways to combine it. I love working digital. I love manipulating things I've made by hand and, experimenting. So yeah, good topic though. Today I am playing through my Crush Mini. I'm running the speaker output into my PPC 112, and I'm using my favorite 1972 Les Paul. And this is what it sounds like. Yeah, this is my still. I love having this set up in the studio. It's awesome. Crush Mini, Les Paul straight in through a PPC 112 speaker. It's a good combination. Thanks, man. Thanks to all of you guys for hanging out. Rocker 32, running stereo. Yep. I think it's funny. I have not really spent a lot of, for me, I'm not actually a real stereo person. One of the other things that I really enjoy doing, and this is something you can, if you check out our band Hero Junior, it's www.herojuniormusic.com, and we do have a new record coming out really soon, so check out my Instagram and the band's Instagram. You can check out all that information here. So when I record the band, and we record totally live, there's, we've got, I'm sitting here in the studio, and we've got our own studio, and we really have been spending a few years, trying to figure out how to get our sound exactly as it is in a room on record. So when you listen to it loud in headphones, it feels like you're in the room, or when you listen to it loud. And I think we've really managed to do that. And the way, speaking of stereo, I'm a real fan of things put together in mono that give you a nice sound field. I've always really liked that. I mean, the Beatles, I think as far as just production and experimenting, the Beatles did a lot of that. Jimi Hendrix did a lot of that. Pink Floyd. There's a lot of cool stuff that you can get wide that's not stereo. And so with recording Hero Junior, I do the drums in mono with the bass. So I've got drums, bass, and vocals really pretty close to center. And then the two guitars are left and right. And the bleed through, because we're doing everything live, kind of gives it its own ambience. And it's worked really great so far. And I love mono drums if they're played nasty and hard. And Ryan, he's the perfect drummer to be able to record in mono, because he just beats the shit out of his drums. And so, yeah, I haven't felt that I need to get more width out of the drums. I love it that it's just, it's going, and all of that information's coming out of the center. And I really like that. But man, everything is cool. If you're into something, it's the one thing that I always say, if you're really into something, do it. There's absolutely no right or wrong with being creative. And I think that's a really, cool thing. What I do think when you're doing stereo is it clogs up your space a lot. Unless you're, it's like if you're doing a record like Def Leppard, or you're doing a record like Tool, or there's all kinds of techniques for different kinds of creative processes. But I think from me personally, it's like I do a lot of stereo stuff if I'm doing a job for somebody else and they want a certain sound and I'm producing it. Sometimes stereo really works, but I think you have to start cleaning stuff up. You have to start EQing way more. And my goal, especially with producing rock music, is I'm always trying to keep the band in as pristine form as when it was recorded as possible, because whenever you add or subtract EQ, even though sometimes you got to do that, it changes the vibration of what happened when it first happened. And I'm just a believer that the closer you keep your music to the state it was recorded in, the more impact you're going to have people. If, you're good. And if I think, and I'm speaking again for myself, I try to be, honest with my music. I really don't think about it. The band just plays our shit the way we do it, and it feels good. And so I really feel great when we can get that feeling out to other people. And people like it, people don't like it, doesn't matter, but it feels really good. So stereo, totally useful. With guitars, for me, I find it loses a lot of its punch, but that's just the style of music that I'm making, with the band. And like I said, if I'm working with other people and stereo fits, stereo it is. Definitely no rules. Yes, not always and not only. I think that's a really good rule for any kind of music. For those guys you just joining, I'm Ken Rose. I play guitar with Hero Jr. This is Orange Hangs, and this is the Crush Mini through the PPC 112. Oh yeah. More questions. Okay, what strings do you use? I have been using now for more than a year. I switched over to DR Pure Blues. I use 11 to 50s. I love these strings. I mean, they're really. I bend a lot of I bend a lot more than just an octave or a whole step sometimes. These strings really stay in tune. They feel great. And like I said before, I do feel that shit. I have no idea what the technical aspects of it all is, but they feel great. And both Evan and I use DNRs, and they really feel good. They last a bit longer, and yeah, they just feel great. So really good strings. Okay, we did that one. Okay. Advice for recording a band at home. Shit, how much time do we have? All right, this is the way we're gonna end it. And I think first of all, one of the problems that a lot of people have, and this is just from my experience actually giving master classes and lecturing on on a college circuit, on a gear circuit sometimes. People listen to records their whole life and then they're making their own record and they already have an idea that it's got to sound quote good or like a record. This is something people used to say a lot. It's like, it sounds like a record and it's a demo. It's like, I don't believe there's any difference between a record and a demo. I mean, if you've got a great recording that feels good, there's always going to be some audience for it, even if it doesn't sound like you did it in an expensive studio, even if it's sloppy. I think, again, you need a great song for any of this shit to work for the most part. But you can record at home, and I think don't have a preconceived idea of what it's going to be if you're just starting, because you're going to let yourself down. Most of the records that you hear are done with a lot of different gear, and they're done over a long period of time by people that have been doing it for a long period of time. So it's going to sound good or not, but it's going to have a level of professionalism that people call a record. I also think that if you're sitting at home with a great song and you've got a shitty mic and GarageBand and you get a good take, it's going to be good. I mean, I think, Beck has done things that were released as demos. Alanis Morissette's first record, as far as I know, was a lot of demos. Recording at home, yes, use your ears. If it sounds shitty and you don't like it, figure out how to get it to sound better. And unless you're trying, okay, I don't know if you can make Def Leppard at home, probably, but it's going to take a long time. But just try to document your creativity in a way that makes you happy and feels good. And most people don't even try to do that shit because they get depressed or they get frustrated that, this sounds like shit. It's like, if you got a good song and you honestly perform it, I don't think that it's going to come out like shit. And I think someone's going to like it too. And I mean, I like it when people like my music. The main reason that I make music, even as a job, is that I just love being creative and I love how it feels to be creative. But once I'm done being creative and it goes out into the world, I want people to like it. And I never really think about, is the recording good enough? My first thing, again, song. If you got a great song, lyrics, melody, and music, that's like way more than half of the battle. Because if you've got a good song, it will get noticed by somebody in any form, whether it's a demo, whether it's a record, whether it's a shittily recorded record. It doesn't matter. People always react to a good song, and business-wise too. I mean, if you're not a musician and you hear a song and it's a good song, you're probably going to be able to sing it if it's in the genre of music that you like. And that means you've got a good melody. And it doesn't matter if you're heavy metal, if you're death metal, if you're punk, if you're pop, if you're rock. You need to have a good melody. You need to have something memorable, and it just needs to be honest. I mean, that's my main criteria, is that it's honest. So if you're recording at home, just keep doing it. I mean, I am so not technologically inclined when it comes to recording, but because I've been doing it for so long, I can record and mix and, engineer my own albums. And it's great, but I still don't really know what I'm doing. And when I watch someone, and I work in the studio with someone that's their main gig and they're an engineer and they're just, if, you work with a guy that's won Grammys as an engineer and they're going to do things totally different because that's their gig and that's the way they do it. And I'm just not always a fan of that kind of thing. I think you can get in there and dig into music too much when you're mixing, when you're recording, when you're engineering. So my philosophy that I've always kind of adhered to for me is I hope that it feels good, because if it feels good to me, it's going to feel good to you. And I think that's how I approach music and creativity anyway. It's, it's just about, do I feel good doing what I'm doing and with the people I'm doing with? Yes. Being critical of your own music, man, we all do it. And it's really, I think one of one of the most valuable gifts that I think I have is that it's not that I don't give a shit, but I just trust myself. And the older I get and the more I've been playing and writing, I just get a trust. And not everything I do is good, but if I'm working on an idea, I don't censor myself at all. And if it's done and it's like, I just don't do it. There's so many songs being written and there's so much creativity that I'm going to go down the road and see what comes out of it, but it doesn't mean I'm going to like everything. But it's also, there's a real difference about judging your music and your creativity and being too critical. And being too critical is just, man, that's like castrating your creativity. But knowing who you are, and I know what my good songs are and what my shitty songs are, in my opinion. And I just like going down the creative path. I think being creative is such a cool thing. And I do love talking about it. And we're getting ready to go here. So again, this is going to be our last Orange Hangs. I'm definitely going to be doing something else. Not sure what it is or with who, but it's going to involve guitar, gear, producing, writing, all the different things I do. And I'd like to do something interactive where you guys can bring songs and demos, song critique, kind of problem solving situation. So stay in tune with me and stay in touch on Instagram and Facebook and email. Everything's down here on the in the notes here on this whatever on YouTube. And I'll play a little bit more and then that'll do it. All right. This has been Orange Hangs. It's been really fun doing this for you guys. And like I said, stay in touch. Follow Hero Jr., www.herojuniormusic.com. Stay tuned with what's coming next with Orange. I'm sure it's going to be rad. And, stay safe and see you guys soon. Thanks for hanging out.